Hello, everybody. So, as you can tell, the format's a little bit different. I don't have my webcam up, but just the background of Naboo here, one of my favorite planets in the Star Wars universe. Today, we're going to read Chapter 5 of the book. Let's be frank here. You're not here to see my face, you're here to listen to the story. So, let's just stop talking about it and jump in. Oh, yeah, by the way, before we jump into it, we're reading the same book. You already know. Force Collector, Chapter 5. Let's get this thing done, shall we? Alright. Chapter 5. The next day at school, things got bad and strange, or badder and stranger than usual, considering that school was Carr's least favorite place in the universe. He grudgingly finished 2 of his 6 classes when he heard his name called over the building's intercom, summoning him to the headmaster's office. Perfect, he griped. His classmates giggled. His teacher, a given who was leading the class in calculus, shrugged and waved at the door. Go on, then. He picked up his data pad, stuffed into his bag, and slipped out of his desk. What did I even do this time? He muttered to himself, leaving off the question mark that should have been at the end. The teacher muttered something vaguely in reply, but the door shut behind Carr before he can catch it. He didn't care, and it didn't matter. He had 3 minutes and counting to answer the call before it came again, and if it came again, it came with detention. With the looming threat of spending more time in the headmaster's office, he hustled down the empty hall, zipping his bag and tucking in his shirt as he went, his shoes squeaking on the polished floors with every rush step. He palmed open the door that separated the school's public corridors from the administrative offices and once again sat down on the bench and stared at the door to the headmaster's office. He was alone right where he'd been the same time the previous day, making a habit out of it. He wouldn't mind making a habit of seeing it Maze, but this time she failed to appear. She was either behaving herself in some other class or doing such a good job of being bad that no one had caught her yet. Carr figured the odds were about 50-50 either way. He felt around the bench until he located the first letter of his name, etched there the day before. Since he didn't know how long since he didn't know how long he could expect to wait for whatever scolding or punishment was coming, he considered finishing the job. But before he could fish out his little knife for another go at graffiti, the headmaster's door slid open. The Ovesian headmaster was not alone. He was joined by Tamar and Lue Nexin, Carr's parents. All 3 of them wore somber expressions. Carr's stomach sank. The last time his mom and dad shown up at school is to tell him that his aunt had died. He didn't know any other old people that now that his grandmother was gone, so anybody else's death would be a real shock. His brother or his uncle that lives on the other side of the planet. Is everything okay? He asked. Lue caught on quickly, but she was careful when she replied, "No one is hurt or anything like that, but we need to talk." The headmaster gestured into his office. "Please, come inside." Carl looked over his shoulder, but saw no one to rescue him from whatever dire news he was about to get. No sign of any other teacher, no hint of Maze, no comforting beeps from RZ7. He stood up straight, slugged his bag over his shoulder, and sighed. Let's get this over with. They all retreated into the office, and the headmaster closed the door before taking his seat behind a big desk. When everyone was settled, he folded his hands and let them rest on the gleaming surface in front of him. Car, your parents and I have been having a conversation about me, about you. His mother confirmed. We've been so worried, his father offered. She continued, yes, we've been worried about you. We've been worried about you, dear. Ever since your grandmother left us. You simply haven't been yourself. Your headaches have gotten worse. And we all know we all know they're happening more frequently. Yesterday alone, it happened twice. I know, but I'm learning. He stopped. What could he tell them? He tried to tell the truth before, but it never worked. His grandmother had believed in the Jedi, but no one else in the family did. I'm learning how to live with them. His mother smiled warmly and patted his knee. You've been very, very brave, son. But we finally heard back from the specialist you saw last month, the one that came from Chandrila. It took a long time to go through all the test results, but now we have some. She looked up at her husband, but he didn't finish the thought for her. So she kept going, even though she didn't sound terribly confident. We have some answers and we have a plan. Tomorrow, then confess. You'll probably like a part of it, but you might hate the rest of it. Carr sighed. So, give me the good news first, I guess. The good news, his mother repeated. Well, you hate school, don't you? This one, he admitted, avoiding eye contact with the headmaster. The headmaster sighed. I realize you've had your difficulties, especially with the death in the family. My mother, Tamar said. His grandmother. She lived with us, and she and Carr were very close. The headmaster bobbed his horned head in sympathy. It must have been hard. It must have been a hard time for everyone. To be sure. And now this. Carr sulked. Now what? I believe I was promised some good news. His mother pressed onward. Yes. And the good news is, after the end of this term, you won't have to go to school anymore. Not this one, at any rate. You want to leave it so badly, and you've had so many fainting spells, we realize that it's not safe for you to attend here any longer. Wait, what? His father hastily chimed in. You'll be joining my brother in trade school in Teltor province, where you'll learn to take things a little easier. He was stunned and not at all happy. Neither one of those pieces of news sounded particularly good. He felt like he'd been lied to. What? You can't do this. You can't just send me away because I have headaches. The headmaster unfolded his hands and leaned forward. The upper and lower horns on his face coming closer. It was probably meant to be a reassuring pose, but mostly felt threatening. That's not what's happening here, young man. Your constitution is not suitable for all this excitement. That's what your doctor said. Carr turned to his parents. I get picked on. I get picked on a lot, but that's not the cause of the headaches or the fainting. Louis looked at him with wide, damp eyes that were sure to spill over with tears any second. But dearest, that's exactly it. It's the stress of it all. That's what the doctor concluded, and he's the foremost expert in the sector. I don't care who he is. He's wrong. Grandma said I have the Force, and I believe her. Even if we believe that, and we don't, his father was quick to add. There are no more tests they can give you. You've been checked over by every capable physician and droid we can afford. And this is your diagnosis. My diagnosis is that I'm weak. His mother shook her head. Your diagnosis is that you're sensitive. You've been complaining about this school since your first day. I thought you'll be happier to hear that you don't have to finish your term. I am happy about that part, he insisted, even though he was thinking of Maze. But how's this better? Taking me out of one school and putting me in another? What makes you think I'll be better or make me any happier? Tamar shrugged. At the new school, you won't be so alone. Your uncle will be there to look after you, and you won't be surrounded by a bunch of other immature children. Most of the people at trade school are a lot older than you. Yeah, because it's supposed to be school for adults, not for kids. The headmaster replied. Between us, we pull some strings. I know that your family business is perhaps, he hunted for the right words, not your truest passion. But we all believe that it will do you good to focus and doing substantial work. Something with your hands, something that you can concentrate without distraction. His father then said, "You're nearly a man now. It's time you learned how to do more than sew a straight seam or judge the quality of a fabric. You've learned everything you're going to learn at home. And you hate school. You're miserable here. Your health is in jeopardy, and it's time to try something else. So why not bring you up to speed on the finer points of tailoring business? It might it might be it may not be your favorite thing, but you have a knack for it. With more focused training, you could be truly great. Imagine it, creating your own clothes to your own preferences for your own clients. You'd be the youngest shopkeeper on the planet. It sounds thrilling. I know you're only being rude, but I'll be happy if it bores you. You need to be a little bored. I honestly think it'll be good. It'll do you good. It'll help settle your mind." He said with finality. I talked it over with Cannell, and he made all the arrangements. You're very fortunate that he's a good teacher and the school holds him with high regard. Fortunate. Carr grumbled bitterly. The Vision settled back in his chair. Yes, fortunate. The doctors feel that your headaches will subside and your fainting will diminish. If you can only find a quiet routine occupy your time and I agree with them. Am I being punished for being different? Is that what this is? No, he insisted. You're being you're being given an opportunity to find happiness and stability elsewhere. Let's not mince words. Carr, you don't make much trouble, but you certainly see plenty. The school isn't always the gentlest place, and I'm aware that we have some students who are hard on the younger, smaller Carr side. Weaker. You can just say weaker. We don't think you're weak, Liu assured him. You think I'm useless. At last, she started to cry. Please don't be like this. We only want what's best for you. And you haven't been happy here. She wasn't wrong. But he wasn't happy with the idea of leaving either. He only had another 3 semesters before he completed all of his terms. He would have options for other careers if he went looking for some jobs that could lead him can take him off of Miraka in search of his true calling, being a Jedi. Surely he surely he would suck it up. Surely he would suck it up for that long, couldn't he? Especially if he could convince Mace to stick around. Maybe it wasn't rational, maybe it wasn't fair, but now that he is being given an escape pod, he didn't want to leave at all. He knew his way around, and he even managed to make a friend, a pretty friend, a friend who thought he was a little weird, but didn't treat him like he was stupid. Someone he could really connect with. Eventually, he was fairly sure. The headmaster and his parents tried in vain to convince him that he was looking at all the wrong. All this. The headmaster and his parents tried in vain to convince him that he was looking at this all wrong, but it didn't work. In the end, when he was sick to death of hearing them talk about him, around him, and over him, Carr grabbed his bag and hopped to his feet. You said I have until the end of the term, right? Now I still have classes here. At least for another couple of weeks. So let me go. I need to get back to calculus. His dad called his name, but Carr didn't look back. He let the office door slide shut behind him, but back in the lobby, he opened the door in the hallway with his bag in his shoulder, and he darted into the hallway before anyone could stop him. It was very quiet out there. He'd been in office long enough that classes had changed, and the students were mostly seated in their desks, pretending to listen to whoever was talking and wishing they were somewhere else. The corridors were silent except for the echoes of his own squeaky footsteps, and a dull throb in his ears that turned out to be his own heart beating too hard because he was too angry. He automatically started toward the correct classroom, but he didn't want to go there. He wanted to run and scream, possibly break things while he was at it. There had to be another way. His steps slowed. They said he didn't make much trouble, but what if he did? What if he made real trouble? What if he got arrested? Would they kick him out of the trade school in Teletor province? It would embarrass his uncle, but Carr barely knew the guy. He was a lot older than Carr's dad, and mostly they saw each other at holidays or funerals. He wondered what kind of minor crime he could commit. It couldn't be too big or too destructive. He didn't actually want to hurt anyone. Perhaps if he broke some school property or vandalized something bigger than a bench in the administrative office. Yes, maybe vandalism is a good place to start. His mind was wandering in the direction of light arson, maybe, when he heard something that shattered nearby. He backtracked, listened hard, and he heard something else break. Something was going down in the science lab. He crept up to the door and looked through the window. Inside, he saw Maze. She was mad enough to break things. Another glass beaker went spinning, and Carr ducked away, even though there was zero chance in it going to hit him. It smashed against the wall, and when the last pieces had trickled to the floor, he knocked on the door. Carefully and loudly enough that even an angry girl with a room full of breakables might hear as recognize a friendly gesture. Then he palmed the door control. Hey, a long, clear test tube hit the floor near his feet, and he cringed. The glass missed him, but not by much. Hey, Maze, could you not do that? She froze. Carr? Yeah. Hi. He stood up straighter and he let himself inside. Get out. Maze sniffed and wiped her nose on her sleeve. She'd obviously been crying, and she's obviously trying to pretend otherwise. She stood there in the middle of a war zone surrounded by breakable glass, and behind her there was a table with two lit burners blazing away. So Carr wasn't the only one contemplating arson. There's one more thing they had in common. Are you alright? Are you alright? I said, get out. I know, but I don't want to. What's going on? Her hand flexed around a measuring glass. Carr thought maybe she was thinking about throwing it at him, but she put it down instead, hard enough to crack it on the counter. My dad got reassigned this morning. One of the big first order ships sent a shuttle for him and took him away, and now we're stuck here without him. I don't even know when he'll be back. Did he just move here? Yes, she shouted. With a sweep of her arm, she knocked the thick glass cup off the table. It hit the floor with a tinkling pop and split into three pieces. We could have stayed where we were. Did you even get to say goodbye? No, he was gone when I got up. It almost it's almost like my mom doesn't even care. She just sent me off to school as usual, like nothing happened. But it happens all the time. I'm tired of trying to hold on to him. Why can't we just find a place to live? You can. You can live here though. Even if he's gone. Here? This is nowhere. You know that. You know it better than I do. Now I'm stuck here. Probably for at least another term of school, and this is all stupid. It's just stupid. She was crying again, her bright blue eyes sparkling. Nothing personal. It's fine. It's fine. He laughed awkwardly. It's almost funny. I just found out a minute ago that I'm getting sent away too. She paused and frowned. Oh, that's right. I heard your name on the intercom. I wondered what that was about. Now you're leaving me too? Great. Just great. Well, now you know. My parents are sending me off to trade school. It's a long way away. She wiped her nose again, this time with her other sleeve. Do you want to go there? No. She thought for a moment. Carr could practically see the wheels turning in her brain, suddenly working at twice the normal speed. What if I went with you? It can't be any worse than here. He sucked in his breath. Was that even an option? He didn't think so. You're supposed to finish your terms out of school like this before they let you in. But I have an uncle who's getting me in there. It's a long story. A chime at a door distracted them both. They watched the door slide open, and Namala Moffat peered inside. She took one look at the mess, and the two kids who apparently caused it rolled her eyes like she was exhausted and said, "Stay here, get the headmaster." Feverishly, Carr began working on a story. There had been a groundquake. That's what he said. That's what he'd say. A small one, a localized quake. No, there'd been an explosion. Someone left an experiment unintended. That's what did it. He had to think of something. Even if he actually been planning to wreak some havoc, and even if he couldn't stay there with Maze, he didn't want her to get in trouble. What if she got expelled before he transferred to his uncle's school? He'd never see her again. The wrinkles on Maze's forehead said that she's still thinking hard too. Her eyes were clearing up. She was looking at him in a way partly thoughtful and partly scary. I have another idea. You don't want to go to that other school. I don't want to be at this one. Maybe we just go somewhere else. Like where? Like how? The alarm went off. It wasn't a loud, scary alarm, but it was a quiet series of beeps that meant someone was in trouble and teachers were beginning to summon. Maze's maniacal grin grew wider with every chime. Like anywhere. Like my dad's ship. That's how. Wait, no way. They picked him up in a shuttle he won't need a personal ship that the First Order gave him until he gets back. And that won't be for months, at least. Well, unless I get into trouble bad enough. A bright, wicked smile spread across her face. Do you even know how to fly? Yeah, I can fly, she said with confidence that wasn't quite contagious. Carr wasn't sure he believed her, but he really wanted to. My dad's been training me. And anyway, you can bring your droid. He can fly, right? Isn't that one of the things you said he can do? He was pretty sure he'd never said such thing, but he was caught up in a moment to correct her. Sure, he can fly. Sure, we can do this, he said, warming up to the idea. I'll call RZ. He'll be here in a few minutes before my parents can even make it home. Probably. Do it. Call him. But the alarm was picking up, its frequency rising, footsteps pattered in the hall outside. Have him meet us at my place. I'll give you the coordinates and lock that door, she commanded. Carr punched the appropriate button. Maze ran to the nearest window and dragged it open. She held it up for Carr, who scrambled to her side. Are we really doing this? He asked, one leg already in the ledge and one leg still clinging to the windowsill. She pushed him the rest of the way, and as he toppled into the bushes, she said, "Yeah, we are. So come on. Let's find someplace exciting." And that's the end of the chapter, fellas and ladies. Next up, chapter 6. Little quick mention here. There's going to be another video uploaded today. Just be fully aware of that. It's just me on the camera explaining something that's about to change on the channel. But anyways, thank you guys for listening. I like this way better because it puts less pressure on me to actually make content. To read content, my bad. Way less pressure. And just me and a mic and a book. And it's way easier. It feels like I'm just reading to myself instead of an audience. It's not like I have stage fright or anything. It's just how I work. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. All links down in the description. Make sure you like and share this video. And yeah. Catch me next time. Alright. Bye-bye. Have a great day.